Given we're talking a little bit today about harvesting the power of the Nordics, just want to dig a little bit more into the power elements. Just on the right hand side of the page here, we can see a comparison of the percentage of renewables in different regions. And clearly the Nordics and Norway are very strong in this area, with almost 100% in the case of Norway's energy being from renewables, predominantly hydro. The graph below that identifies the comparison of cost of that energy, and again, as you can see, as well as having the most renewable, it's also the cheapest energy, or certainly some of the cheapest energy you will be able to purchase in Europe and globally. But there's another element of power which is often overlooked, and that is the scale of the available power supplies in this case Norway. The Nordic region's divided into areas as part of a regulated market for the Nord Pool for being able to procure and supply energy demand in different regions. And looking at the map here, you can see, for example, in Sweden, there's a few different areas with the predominance of hydro generation in the north of the country. And in Norway, there's 5 different areas. And our mega campus, which I'll talk about in a moment, is actually on the very southern tip of Norway in N02. And the important thing to note here is that the hydro pool, if you like, of reservoir water obviously varies throughout the year, but acts as a battery. And the majority of that hydro is actually stored in the south, with around 39% in the case of the N02 region, which is where our N01 data center campus is located. And in total, it represents around 50% of all of the reservoir capacity in Europe. So in terms of delivering scale, in terms of delivering security of supply, you can't really do any better than the hydropower, particularly in the Nordic region. In addition to that, stability and security of both the environmental conditions and also the country itself is important. The Nordics is a very stable place, and most of the different indexes you'll see, the Nordic countries score very well here. But it's important to highlight that all of the appropriate data protection, security elements are in place to facilitate the deployment of a range of different digital infrastructure. And at the same time, Norway itself has a number of different initiatives and policies tackling some of these elements, whether it be the data center sector itself or whether it be AI. There's some additional information at the back of this presentation for you to access in order to have a look in more detail if you want to read up a little bit further. But safe to say, the environment for housing this infrastructure is very secure. And in terms of the workforce, when companies are looking to put infrastructure into the Nordics, you also need to consider access to available skills, services, companies who can support both the deployment and operations. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but having the availability of that solutions and services to support is an important aspect as well.